Hey, so do you want to hear from a dentist who has been doing an amazing job on social media for her practice? Today I'm joined by Dr. Peggy Bown, and she has done an impeccable job on social media to attract the right kind of patients for her practice, to differentiate her practice from her competitors, and she's been using a lot of different innovative strategies within her social media to grow her practice. I bet you do want to hear from Dr. Peggy Bound. She's a Canadian dentist who practices in Saint John, New Brunswick. Now stay until the end. She gives us a lot of really good nuggets of wisdom in this interview. Hi everyone. Today I am joined by Dr. Peggy Bound, and I'm super happy to have her here on the show. It's been a while that I've been wanting to interview her, because if you don't know who she is, you need to go check her out on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, and she's going to tell us where else. She's everywhere. And I would say that she pretty much follows best practices for dental practices in terms of dental marketing. So I'm very happy to be joined by Dr. Peggy Bound. She's been in business for almost 20 years, in practice for almost 20 years. She's a graduate of Dalhousie University, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
All right. Well, thank you, Natalia. That's very cool. Thank you. Yeah, there's not really a lot to introduce. I mean, I sometimes feel a little shy about doing that. I don't usually go into a big intro, but just to give you a little bit of background, I grew up in a really rural town, a community in Newfoundland. And as a child, I went to the dentist and didn't like going there very much. And it was never a great experience. And as a teenager, I got an experience with another dentist a new dentist who took the time to educate me and care for me and was very warm and just treated me like someone who deserved to understand what was happening. And so from that day on, from the age of 14, I wanted to be a dentist. So it was always that way. And then I got into a group practice in 2001 when I graduated. And I was in a group practice for a number of years. And about 6 years ago now, going into 6 years ago, I opened my own clinic here in Saint John, New Brunswick, which I now live. And I wanted to build it. I wanted something that was really modern, really built towards digital workflow, the future. I knew that was coming. I had been using iTero for years prior to that even. And I wanted my patients, though, first and foremost, to feel really educated and feel really like they were somewhere special, but especially to not feel like they were in a dental clinic. So my clinic is very modern. It's got 5 operatories. It's a DSD clinic, digital smile design clinic, with 2 rooms dedicated to digital smile design. And I'm about to be platinum provider of Invisalign. So that's really exciting.
Amazing.
And we are, again, a small clinic with 3 hygienists and myself and 2 assistants. And of course, I have my team of receptionists that take care of everything. But we have, just embraced, I guess, digital workflows, patient education using the iTero element and using photography. And as a DSD clinic, we do smile design and smile test drives and things like that to help patients imagine what their lives could be like, or what their smile could be like with a healthier, more beautiful smile. So,
which I love, by the way. I wanted to talk about what digital smile design is. And I know that you were the first clinic of its kind in Atlantic Canada.
Yeah, we are. We're the only clinic right now that's a DSD clinic in Atlantic Canada, but there's 4 DSD clinics in Canada.
Amazing. I want to come back to that. But first, I want to tell everyone how I learned about you. You might not know this actually, Peggy, but the way that I learned about you was through a client of mine who heard you speak here in Montreal at a conference and he called me the same day. He said, you have to go check out Dr. Peggy Bound. Her social media is amazing. Like, she knows what she's doing. Go check her out. Can you do that for me? And that was like maybe 2.5 years ago that I heard your name the first time.
2.5, 3 years ago. So just on that note though, that reminds me, since social media and marketing is your thing,
Yes.
I want to just briefly touch on how I did get so in deep with social media marketing with this new clinic. So when I left this group practice, I knew no one knew who I was. I was just a regular general dentist in a group. No one generally knows who you are. I had to stand out. So I started to develop a personal brand. I started talking live on video to my future patients and just to the world, and got into Facebook and Instagram right away. LinkedIn and YouTube came later, but and even TikTok, I dabble sometimes. I got to get more better at that. But I really needed people to know who I was, and so I wanted to stand out, but I also wanted them to know that, look, my vision is to, care for people and educate them in a spa-like environment, and really focus and niche down into cosmetic dentistry and into rehabilitation dentistry. So that's how I started using a lot of Invisalign and a lot of, smile design, and looking at like the whole project. And so in order to know, most of the world doesn't know what digital is in dentistry. They haven't been exposed to it. So in Canada, especially, as you know, there's not a lot of provinces not been really allowed to market, or there's been some inhibitions there. I think that's starting to really go away now, but 5 or 6 years ago when I started, that was a real objection of dentists. They're like, our society won't let us do that. And I'm like, why don't you just tell them all about you? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. So I shared like a lot of my who I was as a person. And I think people connected with that. But again, I started to build up and see momentum from Facebook and Instagram. Honestly, for the first couple of years, it was mostly Facebook was my huge source of new patients. And now I can tell you, Instagram is just blows even Facebook out of the water when it comes to how many new patients I get from my Instagram. It's wild. Now I'd love to hear that. Like a whole nother one, but I really want you to know, I guess, that I needed to stand out. I had a new clinic. Nobody knew who I was. And I just wanted to make sure people knew that. So social media is really the best way to get that message out there. So if everyone should do that, no matter if you're an associate or an owner.
I think that is so right, what you just said. And this is something that I often say. Maybe your family knows that you're a dentist, but do they really know what you're about? Do they know what you do? Do they know that you are amazing at veneers? They don't even know what veneers are. Let's be honest, right?
Dentists do the same thing, and they think they're all the same. Like
Exactly. Which is why social media is such a great platform to actually, position yourself as an expert in whatever it is that you want to be positioned yourself as, or even build authority and credibility, on social media.
Well, social proof, right? And just having those reviews and looking at making sure that I'm, Google recognizes me as a real person or a real dentist who does this type of work. And if you key in search words here in St. John for certain types of dentistry, if it's just, tooth extraction, I may not show up. I don't want to show up for tooth extraction. I want the guy down the street to show up for that. I want to show up for smile makeover, new smile, whiter teeth, like any of these Google search words, I'm going to pop up probably first on the page, but I won't pop up first on the page for certain other things, because I've really engineered my search engine, my optimization with my website and my social media marketing to really stand out in a particular area of dentistry that I want to do more of. And that's the only way it's actually happened for me, because I really have put the work into it and I've really focused on that. So many people, maybe even they're not my patient, they'll never be my patient, but they would have heard of me if they're from this area.
Right. So let's deep dive into that a bit more, Peggy, because I'm very curious. So you mentioned you get a lot of your patients, or the majority of your patients, on your Instagram, through your Instagram page. So why don't you walk us through how that works? How a patient goes from being a follower to an actual patient and calling in and booking an appointment.
Okay. My pleasure, actually. So if anybody's heard of sales funnels, or, like a funnel, and that's it, you can just tell you just light up when you say the word.
Yes.
So first of all, you have to grab people's attention. So do we grab the attention? Like you have to have a variety of things on your social media. So some images or certain things may pop up, may interest some people and others may interest others. And it just depends. So I do try to put a variety and I post consistently every day. So I'll put on like, I don't know, anywhere from as a minimum 3 or 4 stories up to 10 stories a day. And then I'll also do, like on my main feed, I do 1 post a day. Now I understand you don't really need to do a 1 main feed post a day, but I have enough content, I can do that. So the more, I just do think you can't go wrong. Like more is better in social media. Unless you're like doing ads and you're really blowing up people's feeds with your ads, people can get annoyed with that. But everything I'm doing is pretty much organic. So organic, again, that's another definition of, my growth is from people naturally finding me and not me forcing my ad upon them, right?
Right.
Well, yeah. So once they get to my post, I will have usually in my write-up, I'll say, and I'll use a lot of hashtags too, and that's a whole nother conversation. I'm sure you've done lots of videos talking to dentists about hashtags, but I always say, like, listen, if you'd like to learn more, if you'd like to have a virtual consult with me, click the link in my bio. So I have a business account, and a dentist should always have a business account. They should not have a personal page for their Instagram, for their business. And so in my business account, I have the option of having a link, and that link will take you to multiple links. So it's called Linktree that we use. I don't know, there's probably other ways to do it. But once you click that one link, that one opportunity I get to connect with people, you get in there and you can either go to my website, you can browse around my website, you can book a virtual consult with me. That appointment, when you book it with me at your flexibility, your time, will show up in my calendar on my phone. No receptionist has to be involved. There's no extra work for my receptionist to do this. So patients are booking with me. In fact, I have 3 virtual consults right after this this interview. So I'm excited to meet those people. And these are new people off the street, like they want to get to meet me, and they want to be sure I'm right for them and they're right for me. So if they book that virtual consult, that comes up in my calendar, I then will send them a digital form. So we have actually digital forms that get automatically sent to our patients who want a virtual consult. And that digital form will have everything on it. Listen, like, so great to meet you. I'm looking forward to meeting you. And then I'll have like a couple little spots where they can upload some photos of their concerns. And I also request that they give me a short description of what's bothering them. So ahead of that virtual meeting, I've had a chance, total stranger now, I've had a chance to look at their photos. I've had a chance to read all about them, figure out what their, concerns are. And then, when I'm responding to them, I'm, deepening they feel heard, and they feel like I've had a chance to really look at things, and they get one-on-one with me. There's no distractions. There's no dental hygienist coming to me saying, Peggy, sorry to interrupt. Can I get you for an exam in a minute? They get one-on-one with me out of the comfort of their home. Could be in their pajamas. I don't care. Although there was, oh my gosh, I got a side note. There was one guy that answered his virtual consult, and he was in bed naked.
Oh no.
Fully dressed. Anyways, that was my only one sort of weird, but he said he completely forgot. So whatever.
You hung up right away.
Yeah, no, it's weird. It's another story. But the point is, generally out of the comfort of their home, they can, get to meet me and ask all these questions. And so sometimes since, especially with COVID, right, this pandemic, people can't all join in. So let's say I'm doing a consultation with a mom. And can we really also have the husband and the child of that family in that consultation room in the clinic? No. But at home, they're all sitting together at the table having a chat with me. So it could be about their son, and both parents get to be there, and they don't have to have a mask on. It's just so nice.
Yeah.
So I've really been surprised about how much I really enjoy virtual consults. In fact, it's not only brought a lot of business to my clinic through this pandemic, but it's also made me feel more excited about when they do come into the clinic. I already feel like I know them. Imagine,
they probably know you. And
yes.
When they come into the clinic, you have all of your PPE on, right? But they've already seen you without the mask.
Look, this is how they meet me, right here in a Zoom call, or it could be a FaceTime call. And so, okay, so now they have, they've booked it. I've had a chance to do this. I meet with them, guess what I do next? I'm so like, it's insane. So I have up in front of me my whole schedule, and I have pre-blocked some places where if that patient wants to actually book the documentation appointment, which would be the exam and the photos and the DSD records and the x-rays, the whatever we're going to take as their next step, I have already some pre-spots already figured out. So I'll be at the schedule. I'm like, they'll say, okay, so what's the next step? I definitely want to book with you. I said, well, it's going to be about $350 for your next visit. And it's going to involve this, this, and this. And I have 2 openings available right now. Which one would you like to pick? And me personally, I'm a dentist, and I know I normally don't book appointments, but why not? I just put it, the computer's right in front of me. I block them out. The next day, my treatment coordinator, she follows up with them with a personal email with all the COVID forms and like saying, you know, welcome, congratulations, like we're going to see you on this date, confirming the appointment. The patient's more invested. I have had a single patient, well, actually maybe one I can think of, that met me online like this, that stood me up. They're not standing me up. Okay. I've made like a connection with them, and they would feel much worse about standing me up because they feel like I already know who they are, right?
I can't let you down.
No.
I was going to ask you that, Peggy. Do you know your numbers? Do you know what percentage of people that come and do a virtual consult with you actually book an appointment?
You mean? Oh yeah. I mean, it's
like 90, like what percentage of that?
It's almost every patient.
Okay, so really, really high.
Very high.
Okay, so I'm gonna try and break it down now. Everything that you just said. So pretty much, you started off with Facebook. Instagram has now become your main source of patients. You are posting every single day, numerous times on stories. So then you have a link in your bio, and you're using Linktree for that. In every single one of your posts, you have a call to action for them to book a virtual consultation with you. They go on that link, they look for that virtual consultation, they can update, they could upload their photos, and then off they go. They book an appointment with you online, and next step is they're in your clinic. Excellent. Yeah. Amazing. So all the way from Instagram to patient.
Yes, to real patients who pay money. So they pay the $350, and it doesn't, like, if it's going to be for sure, absolutely only an Invisalign consult, because I don't charge for Invisalign consults, I will do that. But if I know there's going to be like other things we're going to have to do, digital smile design especially, we do charge, because I'm going to spend time designing a smile for them. And already that's my commitment to them. So they get a lot for their $350. They get this one-on-one with me, they get the documentation appointment, and they get the digital smile design itself. Okay. So yeah.
Let's talk about that, because I love your smile test drive, which is something that I wanted to bring up. So this is something that you do because of the type of clinic that you have. It's a DSD, right? It's called?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So tell us a bit more about that. And I've seen that on social media, and I think it's so impactful. For me as a viewer, I could just imagine what a patient is going to feel like when they see themselves on this smile test drive, and what the results could be afterwards. So tell us a bit more.
Okay. So it's, first of all, incredible. When we bring them in, so let's say they've committed and they want to come back and see what their future smile could be like. Usually these are interdisciplinary or combination cases with bonding and Invisalign, or, you know, full, could be veneers, whatever. Mm-hmm. They get an idea of what they're coming for, but they generally don't know. So it's a bit of a surprise. We bring them in, we do a video of them talking in their clothes that they came in that day. We tell them, you know, you're going to be some photos. So we do some photographs. We do everything with the iPhone. You don't need any fancy equipment. You need a ring light and an iPhone.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And now we do DSLR photos too, but those are not in the presentation that we're going to give to the patient. Okay. So the DSLRs are for our before and afters on Instagram, because we want high quality photos, which is another story, right?
We're going to come back to that one as well.
Exactly. So yeah, so when we bring them in, we'll do all that. Then Crystal puts the mock-up in their mouth, and she's already, we digitally print here. We have a digital printer. So we've printed the design. We make a putty, we fill it with Bisacryl, we pull it off the putty, and voila, there's the beautiful dream smile. So it can usually goes from 4 to 4. I can go back to 6 to 6. Sometimes I'll expand it back. I rarely do just 4 teeth because I know that I can make a bigger impact. And that also makes them want more because they generally need more. So sometimes I'll say, look, we can do most of this with Invisalign, but we'll still have to do bonding on these teeth. So it just brings up the great conversation at the end. But what happens is then they come and go back into that room. They do the same video again, in the same lighting, the same after photos. And then my assistant, my DSD coordinator, she will put together side-by-side images in the same clothes so that they can't go, oh, well, I looked better the other day because I was wearing this and my hair looked better. It's apples to apples. How do I look different with a different smile? So it is the most impactful emotional thing. I wish you could come here to experience it because until you see it, like it's like magic and it's just incredible. They sometimes will just stare. They'll just say, oh, wow. Like the word wow is wow, wow, wow. Or they sometimes swear, or they sometimes just cry. Like we have to have tissues here because it's so emotional. So Dr. Chrisman Coachman, the developer of Digital Smile Design, he calls it emotional dentistry because really it's what we're doing for the patient on an emotional level. And it's so important, right? So we're doing something very positive. It's not just what, you know, the historic feeling about cosmetic dentistry was that it was not good dentistry, it was bad dentistry, it was dentistry that was just for the vein. This is not true. This is impacting people's lives, you know, on so many levels. So we call it emotional dentistry, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. I got into it about 4 years ago, and I was Canada's first DSD master at it because I was just so crazy about it. I started teaching it, actually, lecturing on it across Canada. I went as far west as, well, I went to Victoria actually talking about it, but I was in Saskatchewan. Yes, this is Victoria, Saskatchewan, and Ottawa, and Montreal. And maybe that's when you heard about me, actually. I'm not sure.
That could have been.
Yeah, but I have such a passion for it. But it's truly, it's so nice because the patient then builds that trust with you again. They really feel like they know the end point. So it's really great to, I think if you're starting on any journey, if it's a travel destination that you're going to, or it's a destination for your smile, it's good to know where you're going, right? So this design, so this design develops trust and confidence with the patient, but also allows me then to plan out my Invisalign. So my Invisalign movements are not wasted. Because I know where I need to put the tooth in order to create that look, there's no guesswork.
Right.
And if I'm working with a specialist, an orthodontist, if the case is extremely difficult, that orthodontist is also like having some sort of guide, some sort of map to help us all get there faster, better, easier because of the digital workflow.
Absolutely. So you mentioned something that I want to touch upon, which is before and after cases or before and after photos.
Yes.
Before we go there, I wanted to ask you something. If you could say to dentists something that you've learned about social media in terms of what to post or what to do and what not to do, are there any lessons that you've learned that you would want to share with dentists in terms of social media?
I would love to. So, you know, I think this comes down to when I started dentistry, I started using an SLR camera from like iPhones weren't a thing, right? In 2001. Nope. So I started using an SLR camera to document my cases, and I fell in love with the quality of the images. And we would have to wait 2 or 3 days for the little store next door to develop our film. Okay. Like that's how old I am. And I would get so excited, and I created like a book of before and afters. And my patients, when they would come in, they would have like this book they could look through to say, oh, wow, Peggy, you really know what you're doing because look at these before and after. So from day one of my, like, seriously, since the first year I graduated, I've always documented, and that to be able to do it with an iPhone is just a joke. I mean, it's so easy, and the camera's really good quality. I have the highest quality iPhone camera because I want the quality of the image to be so good. But I think that what I'm getting at here is if you can do DSLR photos for your before and afters, Why not? The quality, and I think when someone's scrolling through images of before and afters, I tend to, and I don't know what everyone else is like, but I tend to get like stop and be more in awe with an image that is crisp, clear, beautiful, balanced in its trying to think what proportions, you know, like where you even place the patient. Like when we take photos of our patients, we tend to put the patient's face over, unless it's a side-by-side, but if it's a single image, we'll move the patient off center slightly. We will, our marketing could have wording to the side. You don't, it's all about the aesthetic of that alone. And I think when you're particular about that, to as much as you can be, I know there's only so many minutes in a day, but thinking about the quality of your images, it's huge. The other thing I would say is that retracted views of people's smiles is so gross to most patients. They will actually scroll through it fast, really fast to get it off their screen. They don't want to see your work in a retracted view. They want to see, how does it look? The ultimate, the best thing you can do is to show the whole patient's face. Yes. Now you have to get, I have waivers for my patients. Like I always try to get as much approval as possible for my patients to be shown on social media. But if you cannot get a full face consent, you need to get this consent here. So you could tell them, listen, if you don't want to show your whole face, would you allow us to show your smile? Because the lips and the cheeks and the gums and everything around it, people don't want to see pictures of teeth in retracted views. It actually is disgusting to them.
I couldn't agree more. And something that's really important, I think, for dentists to think about is your target audience, most of the time, are not dentists. It's patients. It's patients. Even
not who you put in the door. Are you trying to impress your colleagues, or are you trying to impress the potential clients, right?
Absolutely. Yes. So I think we agree that before and after photos are so important for dentists on social media. The right kind of before and after photos, though.
Right. That's right. Yeah. And if you can tell a story about that patient, like the copy is something that I've learned to be very important too. So one of the things I'll write at the beginning is I will say, like, I'll ask a question, because when they're scrolling through, they only see the first line. Yeah. So don't wait for the juicy bits partway down through your writing. Put something juicy, something really catchy there so that they hit the more button and they want to read more, because the longer they spend there, the more likely they'll see where you say, click the link in my bio if you want to book a consult with me. So if they don't ever go do that, if you don't make the content, the copy, which is the writing, interesting or catchy, they're not even going to get there. So you have to be thinking about that.
So good. So what Peggy's referring to is really, I think, Instagram, where normally what you would see is that first line. And so you want to make sure that you either have a really good statement or even a question on there so that you get people, your patients, to actually click read more, and they go through the whole caption. And then they go to the link in bio and get more interested. And actually, the more people read and the more they stay on your posts, the more the algorithm is going to show more of your posts to those people. So just like a little tip there.
Yeah. So, and one other little tip that I learned is that if someone comments on your post, to don't hit the like, don't hit the little heart to say that you like their comment. Just respond with a comment like, thank you, or ask a question, like try to engage with them so that you can get them to be engaging like back. So if they comment, oh my gosh, like that's a hook. That's your open door. So you don't want to just, oh, thanks, and hit the like. You want to just really respond with something that's interesting, that, well, what did you like about it? Or, you know, are you in that same boat? Like ask something that gets the conversation going. Then the next day when you post another post, go back and hit the likes for those comments. And that will remind them that they should go back and visit you again the next day. So you can actually like kind of like exponentially like spread them remembering that you're there. So you can go back and like the comments later. Like,
okay, that's so good, Peggy. I didn't know that. I hadn't figured that one out.
Yeah. So it reminds them that you exist. They're like, what? Peggy Bound? Dr. Peggy Bound liked my comment. What did I do? I didn't, because it wasn't it wasn't right away. So if you go like a few days later and you hit like on their comment, they're like, what did I like? I don't know. So then they got to go back into your feed to figure out what they liked, which will then let them see more of your content.
Oh, this is so good, Peggy. I'm gonna create a post on that on my Instagram. Tips from Dr. Peggy Bound. Here you go.
Well, to be honest, I study, like I listen to podcasts constantly on marketing and social media. So, I mean, I don't know where I got it, but I definitely come up, I listen to other people on this. I don't think I figured
it out. But I haven't heard that one. So that's good. That's good stuff.
But you want to keep them coming back. That's the point.
So definitely you could say that social media has become a really important marketing portion, let's say, for your dental practice. Is that correct?
Yes, massive. And also in the last year, I've updated and optimized my website. Now, my website's not perfect, and it never will be, because websites should be constantly changing and updating. Like there's new team members now that are not that they are in the portrait side, like meet our team, but they're not like in the special video that I made. And I'm like, oh, Quincy, I got to make another video. So you always should be changing, because Google, I believe, or I guess how everything works is like, if you're not adding fresh content to your website, if you built your website like a year ago and you're like, yeah, I have an awesome website, and you haven't done anything, added anything to it, you haven't created any digital forms, any call to action on your website, sorry, but your website's not really what you think it is. So you have to be constantly updating that too. That's really big part of it, is not just social media.
Absolutely. So that's part of SEO. And what you're saying is pretty much Google is crawling your website to see there's new information. And if it does see that there's new information, then it's going to rank it according to the kind of information that it finds on your website. So a good tip there is, if, for example, you're doing a lot of video content, what you could do is you could convert it onto a blog. So let's say that you publish that video on YouTube. Then you could create a vlog directly on your website, and then you're updating your website every, let's say, 2 weeks. Let's say that's when you publish your video. Sorry, you could hear my kids in the background.
How old are they? How young?
So Peggy, I know that we talked a little bit about virtual consults. I know that you have to go very soon as well. You have some other virtual consults with patients. Tell us more about it. Was it a result of the pandemic, or was this something that you were pondering with, and then maybe the pandemic made you jump into it faster, as I saw with other dental clinics? Tell us a bit more about virtual consults.
Okay. So first of all, anyone who was closed, which I think most everyone was close to the pandemic, you had practically 8 to 10 weeks as a minimum to get, I don't want to use swear on your channel, but get your stuff together. Okay. So I hope everybody did that. I did a lot of work. I also, needed to do something. So it helped that I had people around me that were that are in it too, and that wanted to kind of get us better. But we came back really much better and stronger than I ever would. In fact, I cannot believe how far I am. I'm catapulted probably 2 or 3 years ahead because of the closure. So all my systems, all my digital workflows, my forms, my communication, my virtual consults, has all occurred in a very seamless way because of the downtime that we had. So we used that. And yes, I would never have probably actually even thought of, I think I would have thought of it. I knew it was coming, but I didn't know that I didn't even know how exciting it was. I mean, I can honestly tell you, I love it. And so I did it because I had time to figure it out. And I knew that I wanted to still connect with people. And I also had to take care of my patients. So teledentistry, just taking care of my patients through the pandemic, that's where it kind of started. Mm-hmm. But then in May, we ran this promotion for Invisalign, where we said, listen, let's see how many patients we can kind of book through virtual consults, so that when we reopen, we're going to hit the ground running. And we hit the ground running. We had 32 cases of Invisalign starts ready to go. All I had to do was the exams and just make sure they really were good candidates. I had 32 cases of Invisalign, and they were all paid for by the end of June. So
That's unbelievable.
We did we did that. So then I was like, wow, this stuff really works. People like, this is working. So now we do it. I wouldn't even think of not doing it. So I do about at least 5 or 6 virtual consults a week.
Mm-hmm.
And almost all of them, like I said, the conversion rate, if you want to call it that,
Mm-hmm.
is I'm going to say 90+%. Like
Amazing. And Peggy, you are doing it one evening of the week? Like you're
one
booking
evening
off?
of the week and one morning of the week.
Okay. That's
So
not bad at all. Like I think
yeah,
any dentist could say, let me try and fit, a couple hours
exactly.
here, a couple hours there to do that.
Yeah, and they're half an hour blocks. So I usually am talking to the patient for about 15 minutes, and
Mm-hmm.
it is complimentary. I don't think right now there's no need to charge them, because what I get in return at the other end is far outweighs, and they feel like there's no risk. So there's many more people. Like I want all the fish in the net, and I'll sort them once I figure out who's who, right?
Right.
So it's a great way to just capture a lot of interested people.
Mhm.
And then, I qualify them. And I really just find that the virtual consult allows me to be sure that, like, maybe they say, you're not right for me, but I really, they've done research on me too. Like they've
Right.
done background check on me. I am all over the internet, the social media. So they feel already that they're right to me. And now I'm getting referrals from like other family members. We're actually doing a promotion for Christmas, where it's, buy your loved one or a smile makeover as a Christmas present. So we're going to be launching that soon. And it's just really kind of keeping fresh with the ideas. But the virtual consults, I can't imagine without them, but I honestly don't think I'd be where I am without the pandemic.
That's amazing. That's such a good learning, or getting something positive out of everything that occurred. So
Yeah.
Peggy, I think that we're running out of time.
Yeah.
I vote for having you a second time on here, because I think we could talk about so many different things. We could have like chapter 2, chapter 3. So
Good.
I would love
Yeah.
to have you back on here.
Awesome.
Where can tell us about your projects, and where can people find you?
Okay. Well, I am currently, of course, my website is smilesbybound.com, and it's Bound, Bown. There's no R in my last name because people get that mixed up a little bit. And my handle for Instagram is Dr. Peggy Bound. And I'm on LinkedIn, both as a professional page on LinkedIn and a business page. So that's a whole nother discussion. LinkedIn, I love LinkedIn.
I love it.
And LinkedIn has stories now too. So I'm doing stories on LinkedIn, but Peggy Bound Dentistry has a page on LinkedIn. Dr. Peggy Bown has a page on LinkedIn. So those two are connected, but they're different, right?
Okay.
So what I'm going to post for Peggy Bound Dentistry is going to be different than Peggy Bound. And then on top of that, I have Facebook. Of course, it's Peggy Bound Dentistry. Generally, people try to request to be my friend and everything, like through Facebook. But again, I typically am better with DMs and messaging through my Instagram. Mm-hmm. And then I also do, what was I going to say?
A YouTube channel.
You can email me too, but that's in my website.
Peggy, and you have a YouTube channel.
Oh my gosh.
Let me remind you of what you have.
I have a YouTube channel. Oh, Peggy Bound Dentistry is my YouTube channel, and I make it both for dentists and for patients. So right now, it's not niched down quite as well as I want it to be. Mm-hmm. I am just playing. I've been doing it for about 1.5 years now, and there's a ton of videos on there every Saturday, or mostly every Saturday. I release a new video, and it's about my passion. It's about something. I sometimes interview people. I've had guests on my YouTube channel. I've interviewed dentists, dental students, and different people. And I really enjoy that too. But I believe my goal for 2021 is to have my own podcast too.
Oh, amazing.
So
just one project,
Yeah, right. But it's not a big extension after you do a YouTube channel, because YouTube videos are way more work than podcasts. So
I've heard that. And I've experienced it.
Hair and like, you know, hair, makeup, lighting, everything for a YouTube video. And we had to get it all out, and we usually batch like 2 or 3 videos at a time. And then I have an editor, Quincy, that she does the editing. We try to do a bit of B-roll. We try to put, you know, other video in the picture and try to make it better and better. But
it's a lot of work. I've stopped caring so much about the makeup and hair, pretty much. You get like this is it. My curly hair is what you're gonna get.
Oh, you look great. You always look great, actually. Yeah.
That's so nice of you. Peggy, thank you so much for being here today. This was super entertaining. I think everyone got a lot of value from this. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and if people want to like let us know, right? Like, is there something they want us to talk about or me to talk about more? Then by all means, either direct message or let us know from this video, because I'll come back for sure if you want to do another interview.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Peggy.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
So I hope that you were taking a lot of notes during that high value packed interview with Dr. Peggy Bound. So for this week's freebie, as usual, we have something that is new. We have a webinar that I put together. It talks about the top 3 changes in social media for dental practices that you need to start implementing right away to have success for your social media. So if you want to have access to that, it's about 10 to 15 minutes webinar. Make sure to follow the link in the description of this video below. I will see you next time, same place. Bye for now.